Today's AskReddit post. What's something unexplainable that you've experienced? Serious. Oh boy, this is gonna be a good one. Let's get started. I bought one pair of Bluetooth earbuds about 6 months ago. I received one pair about 4 months ago. I went to use them and they wouldn't auto-connect to my phone. Weird. I paired them and there were 2 pairs now. Later I found my other pair sitting on my desk. I've been quarantining alone. No idea where the extra set came from. That is weird. Were they identical? As in same brand and color? Yep. Both Jabra Elite 75s. You accidentally picked up someone else's thinking it's yours and brought it home. Case closed. I haven't been around anyone to do that though. Recently, I was on the couch watching something and I heard a crash from my washer and dryer room. My cat also shot up and looked in the direction of the door. It sounded like a broom fell over, or maybe one of the plastic tubs. Freaked me out as I already don't really like that room in the first place. Plus it was very late at night and I live alone. Also because of the pull string door that leads to the creepy ass attic. Decided I was not going to be like every idiot in a horror movie and investigate what the noise was. I literally sat there on my couch for hours. The next day, I decided I had enough courage to take a peek and literally saw nothing touched. Both brooms were still propped up against the wall. All the plastic tubs were sitting perfectly. I have no idea what that noise was and I don't really care to find out. I love that you didn't check it out. I am the same way. Ghosts and poltergeists would be so disappointed with me because I would never play along. I live in an old cottage. Every few months I get the odd bang or odd things happen. I just say nice try. Back to bed now. That was my attitude in our old house. Random bang. Or something flipped off a shelf or counter. Cute. Same. Honestly you just get used to it after a while. Had a door slam in my face. I opened it and something pulled it closed again. I just went can I help you? If not get out of the way and it swung open. Don't let them mess with you. It's your house too. I think I've shared this before but here we go. As a kid, I had an imaginary friend who I would play with a lot. I had few real friends but I was also more of an outcast in daycare and kindergarten so sometimes that imaginary friend was all I had. My mother said I'd always describe him as very similar looking. When I was around preschool age, my mother said we needed to talk about my friend and I said that I'm fine with keeping Joshua around because I was scared of starting school alone. Her face just froze in shock and she never brought it up again. I didn't realize why until my grandma explained years later that I had a twin brother who didn't make it and my parents were planning on naming him Joshua. The only logical explanation I have is that I picked it up when I was very little but my grandma said that my parents literally never talked about it because they didn't cope well with the loss at all. It's still very strange. Even with his passing you were still able to grow up and play with your brother for a couple years. This is as scary as it is delightful and fascinating. Years ago, I went to the movies with my mother, and we decided to see another movie afterwards. It was a simpler time. LOL. So my mom was calling my dad to tell him we would be home late. As she was on the phone with him, my phone rang. I looked at the screen and it said my mother's name. She definitely wasn't just ducking with me, because she showed me her screen connected to my house phone. We had just seen a horror film and I was too afraid to pick it up. Kinda wish I did, though, but in retrospect, it was probably a number spoofing bot. Not sure those were as popular over a decade ago though, so I have no idea. This happens at my house from time to time. We'll get a call to the home phone from the home phone. The first time it happened it threw me off because I was watching TV and caller had said my mom was calling the house and she was in the other room. This is my second comment that I had remembered while reading everything here. When I was 5 months pregnant with my son, I had received a check and I was trying to use it to open a bank account. After we cashed it, we planned on eating at the dentist next door. For some reason the check wasn't able to be verified, so we went to another bank and had no issue. We ate at a different restaurant as we were short on time. Unbeknownst to us, That dentist we were going to eat at had a shooter who shot and killed a few people, including a woman who was 5 months pregnant at the same time we were going to eat. The man apparently had a bunch of child porn and lashed out. We found out a day later, and I am still grateful that something prevented us from going. I feel awful for the people there. This was about 18 years ago. You were there. Just not you. You have now entered the Twilight Zone. I climb up cell phone towers for a living. One time I was on top of a 350 featuring tower, waiting for some test results. I got hit in the face with a small object. It hit me hard enough to bruise my eye. No idea what it was or where it came from. Part of a plane? Giant bug? No idea. A bird dropping something? Imagine getting a black eye from bird poop. That would be a great story. Birds drop their prey from up high to crack their shells, etc. so then they can eat it. I had a college professor who specialized in researching how high birds flew up before they dropped stuff to conserve energy while also ensuring that the shells actually broke on the first attempt. Quite a boring topic, but she was so passionate about it. I recall a park ranger at Assateague Island State Park in Maryland, explaining why they had painted the silhouettes of birds on the roads within the campground. She said the idea was to keep seagulls and other birds from dropping mollusks onto the road to crack them open, which could potentially cause damages to people's tires. What happened instead was that the birds dropped the shells only onto the spots where the silhouettes were painted, like they were trying to take out the competition while cracking open their meal. When I was a kid, pre-teens, I would see a silhouette of a person standing on my doorway from time to time late at night. The figure never entered the room but just kinda stood there and didn't move. Normally I'd just hide under the covers because its presence terrified me. I know that it wasn't a dream because my brother, who is the same age, can verify that he often saw the same thing. Because my brother saw it too, and oftentimes the same night. That disproved that it could have been my imagination or a hallucination or even a dream. Also, the figure was taller than anyone else who lived in the house, and I also saw it at my grandparents' house. So it couldn't have been someone in my family either. I haven't seen it in years now, but I never really found an explanation for it. OMG, this happened to me too, but I didn't have any siblings to back me up on it. For me it was some tall bald guy in an old Timmy War outfit. Low-key kinda similar. From what I could make out, it looked like the figure was in a long trench coat and like a fedora or something. Like a 40s detective or something. That's pretty interesting though. Did you ever talk to anyone about it? Hey, there seems to be a worldwide phenomena about a shadow man with a brimmed hat. Google it. I think it's linked to sleep paralysis, although I was wide awake when I saw him. Whoa, that's wild af. I totally feel ya. I could totally move and everything. And especially since my brother saw it too, surely it couldn't have been sleep paralysis. But it is strange to me many people see such similar things unexplained. One time my brother and mom were in a McDonald's drive-thru getting McFlurries, and my brother pointed to the sky through the car windshield and there was a bike in the sky with a man just riding on it. It had balloons floating above it like an up. All three of us saw it. It wasn't imaginary. Although my brother forgot this happened. He was pretty young at the time. Me and my mom have not forgot. I thought you were going to say you went to McDonald's and the ice cream machine was actually working. Luckily this thread has a serious tag. I was laying in bed one morning, and I felt pure evil on the foot of my bed. I can't explain it, but it terrified and paralyzed me, making me like a deer in headlights. My heart dropped and I felt the need to escape. It was early in the morning and my late husband was playing WoW on the computer in the living room. After a few minutes, I mustered the energy to run the fuck out of my room. I ran to my husband and grabbed him, sobbing about this thing. Not even 30 seconds later we heard the smoke alarm go off and it smelled like sulfur and an electrical fire in the part of the room I felt that thing. Then, about a minute later, the smell passed. There was no fire, nothing amiss, and everything was fine. I didn't feel that thing anymore and it just went away. I never felt anything like that before or since. and I had a witness, so I know I didn't imagine the whole thing. I simply can't explain it. The smell and electrical fire smell plus alarm could be an improper junction in your wall igniting then burning itself out. May want to get your wires looked at. And the pure evil could just have been her brain realizing something was going on before she realized it. Yep. The doom juice pumping through your body. I'm now referring to Sixth Sense shit as doom juice. When I was 10ish, my mother, sister and I moved into an apartment. 2-bed 2-bath. But from the start I couldn't handle using the bathroom and the room my sister and I shared. Something just felt wrong in there. Like the bathroom was breathing and I was being watched. So I used my mom's. Eventually my sister refused to sleep in our room at all and moved her mattress into the living room. I got sick a lot during the year we lived there. At night I sometimes woke to the sound of footsteps approaching my bed from the bathroom. And when I would sit up to look, the sound always stopped. I begged my sister and her friends to keep the bathroom door closed after coming in to use it, but they'd often forget and I'd wake late at night to a black hole of an open door and that breathing sensation. Eventually my sister's boyfriend, who often spent the night, told her he sometimes saw shadows looming over my bed at night. My religious grandma visited once, stepped into my room and started speaking tongues. I don't know. It all sounds superstitious and hokey, but that place messed with me until we moved. I would be so mad if my sister forgot to close the bathroom door, especially since she moved her mattress to sleep somewhere else. It's like saying they wanted the monster to get me, lol. I dream things that happen years in the future. Not even important events. Just random interactions at random points in the future with people I haven't met yet at seemingly random locations. It's also happened multiple times and isn't just a one-off occurrence, which could have maybe been passed off as coincidence. I have this sometimes too, but not a lot anymore. One time I was playing with my brother and I was using the cloth my mother almost never uses to play with him. The moment I picked up the cloth I felt a heavy deja vu feeling and was like, hey WTF, I dreamed about this. Yup, exactly what happens with me. I just go about my day as normal and without even realizing it the dream just sort of happens. Man, I would sometimes get really scared because the future dreams would mix with my nightmares and the rest of the day I would think something bad would happen. A few months ago I woke to see a tall dark figure standing over my bed, but because I suffer from sleep paralysis I just assumed I was hallucinating and went back to sleep. My mother-in-law was staying over that night in the spare room and in the morning she started telling me how she woke to the feeling like she was being watched. Scared the shit out of me. Once I had a dream where I was picking up the paper from the porch, and a piece on page 1 said something like the lions are in town, and thought when I woke up, what a stupid dream. The next morning I picked up the paper from the porch, and a piece on page 1 said something like the lions are in town. The capitalization was indeed different, but that was pretty much the only difference. This is the only time anything like this has happened to me. What was the paper referring to? A sports team? The Lions Club? The service organization? I have way too many instances of knowing when someone is going to call me or calling them at the same time. So much so that even my husband has noticed it. I'm talking random phone calls from people I haven't spoken to in a while. Once I rewatched one of my favorite movies which had recently been put on YouTube for free. That night I had a dream about an old friend from high school I hadn't spoken to since graduation. I woke up thinking about her and typed out a message to her but didn't send it. That night she texted me, hey, was it you who liked that movie? It's on YouTube for free now. I didn't associate her with this movie in any way. Didn't even know I had told her about it. Just a coincidence. But it was sweet that she was thinking about me too. When my sisters and I were little, we used to spend the night at our grandparents' house quite frequently. It was just a tiny house, so there probably wasn't much need. But I remember my grandpa would always check in on us before turning in. He died in December of 2018. I was living with my mom then, having only just gotten out of a bad relationship in September. Anyway, the night we got his urn back, I remember being woken up because my door opened on its own. Something that had never happened before, because the door was heavy and sat crooked in its frame. so it wasn't easy to open. And yet it just did. Coincidentally, on the same night Grandpa's urn came home. I'm not a huge paranormal buff or anything like that, but I couldn't help feeling like maybe he was checking in on me. He just wanted to say goodnight to his grand-sibling. I placed a glass upside down into the dishwasher. I walked away and boom, it shatters into a million super tiny shards. Dishwasher hadn't been used recently and the glass was room temperature. I had to replace the dishwasher because of how tiny the shards were. Could never get them all out. This one I might be able to answer. It was a random event due to an improper finish. LOL, I'm a glass blower. Most dishwasher safe dishes can't be blown because the heat cycle of a dishwasher damages the anneal finish. Glass blowers anneal glass to let the glass cool without stress. It lets glass take a ding and not shatter. No blown glass is dishwasher safe since the heat cycle is actually enough to start stressing glassware and results in explosions of slivers at random times. The same happens if a manufactured dishwasher safe glass doesn't get a perfect finish. The glass is more resistant to heat, but if the anneal process wasn't just right, the glass is a bit brittle. Heating and cooling it in previous wash cycles would stress it out. If the glass was blown or the manufacturing process wasn't quite perfect, for a normal dishwasher safe glass, it can result in pretty much random shattering. It was setting it down and letting it settle in the dishwasher rack that put just the right amount of stress on the glass. That was already overstressed from previous washes and caused it to shatter. If the dishwasher heat cycle is enough to stress the glass to the point of breaking, how do blown marijuana bowls and sliders not break all the time from the heat of the flame? Glass tobacco pipes are blown from borosilicate glass, which is a different thermal expansion profile from common soda lime glass. Borosilicate glass is what Pyrex brand glass was made out of many years ago. I have some mixing bowls made out of the stuff. I really wish it was more common in modern kitchen utensils. My grandma had a borosilicate glass frying pan. She could cook anything in it and nothing would stick. I was on public transit one time and saw someone that was just about the same height as me and looked to have my body type. I just shrugged it off at the moment. As a taller girl with a slightly bigger frame, it's not that rare. The only seat is the one directly across from her, so I sit down and put my headphones in. I tend to people watch while I ride to school, so I started to do exactly that. I take a closer look at the girl in front of me. Same shade, cut and color hair. Weird, her head is down, so I can't see her face. But when the bell dings to tell that it's the next stop, she looks up. Oh my lord, she has my face. She looks up at me and blinks twice. Same color eyes. I have very odd eyes. So brown they look black. Her eyes are so brown they look black. She stands up and walks off the bus. I turn to see her go. Sure, my eyes are playing tricks on me. She's gone. It's like she walked off the bus and just fell into a wormhole. I look at the spot we stopped. No girl there. Was creeped out for the entire week. Oh man. Doppelganger stories are my favorite. You're definitely not alone with that experience. I have never seen mine, but other people have. Like they saw me in one room, and then in another room. Maybe we do kind of weave in and out of different dimensions. I have a dissociative disorder. Maybe I do actually go away. So interesting. My friends went out one night to a club. I hate clubs because they are loud and people are in them. The next day all my mates were saying they were glad I came out of the club in the end. I told them I never went to the Duck-In Club and my girlfriend verified that I had been home all night. They all insisted, saying we took photos and everything. Saying I was wearing a new outfit and thick chain. Stayed with them for a few hours then left. They all tried finding the photos they insisted on taking of me, but nope, not one. Even a group shot they said I was in just shows them. No idea if they were messing with me or not. I was on vacation with my extended family in a tourist area. The adults went out to the casinos one night and had my eldest cousin babysit. She was 16/17. The parents joked and said if we win big, we'll send a limousine to pick you guys up. Fast forward a couple of hours. The apartment phone rings. The caller says he's a limousine driver here to pick up the Oliver family, our last name. Shocked and excited, My oldest cousin calls her mum's mobile phone to confirm everything. Confused. Her mum says that they definitely have not sent any limousine. Turns out another family in the same apartment building with the same last name had a limousine called that night, and the driver accidentally dialed our apartment number instead of theirs. Seriously, what are the chances? Cousin. OMG. Universe. Psych. Bro, you actually watched the whole video. I'd give you a high five if I was a human. Make sure to click the like button and subscribe for more great content. See you next time.